All right, welcome to Concordia University Online Orientation. I'll be your host. My name is Sean Pruitt. I am an instructor within the program, and our goal for today is to get you all the information that you need to get off to a good start at Concordia. We have several different areas to go through today, and I'll be hosting most of them. But the first part is information on registration and degree works, and we're going to have Tiffany handle that. So, just briefly, I'm going to pass the lead to Tiffany. Once she goes through all her stuff, I'll take back over and we'll get into the nitty gritty stuff. So, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Tiffany now, and she will go over her information. So, just bear with us through this transition process. All right, Tiffany, you should be host now and should be able to share.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tiffany Edmondson, and I work with Student Success. And today I will be covering a couple things for you to help navigate your way through the program. So one of the first things that I want to kind of discuss with you is your cohort template. Everyone should have received a cohort template from your enrollment specialist when you first started the program. If you did not receive a cohort template, let me know, and we can provide that for you. I will provide that email information for you in the next slide. But first, I kind of just want to go through this cohort template if you weren't advised how to read it, because it can be kind of complicated. So this is just a standard AES, Applied Exercise Science cohort template. Your cohort code will be listed up here. Your start term will be listed here, and when you're expected to end the program will be listed here. So this is just an example of a summer 2018 term 1 start. So it's going to lay out basically your entire semester to completion of the program. So for summer 1, you're going to register for KNES 1, and for summer 2, you're going to register for KNES 2. One of the things that I kind of want to point out to you is this legend here. If you are a strength and conditioning student, you only want to select the classes that have SC behind it. If you're a fitness and health promotion student, you only want to select the classes that have FHP behind it. This semester here, this spring 2019 semester can be kind of complicated. I want to remind you, do not go on and register for all of these courses. You only want to select the courses that are specific to your concentration. If you are a sports nutrition concentration, your outline is listed down below on every template. If you are a dual student and you're doubling up, when you get to this semester, you want to pick the 2 concentrations that you're studying. And again, you want to also pay attention to this term here. That's going to tell you if it's a first 8 week or a second 8 week term. Again, if you have any questions about this, feel free to contact myself, Tiffany Edmondson, or Rhonda Howard with Student Success, and we'll be more than happy to walk you through it. One of the next things that I want to kind of talk to you about is online registration. So when you all first started the program, each of you all were enrolled by your enrollment specialist. Moving forward, you will be registering yourself. I've created this PowerPoint that will basically take you through each steps on how to register, where to go, how to log into your portal, how to actually access different things within your portal, and how to actually get registered for your next class. If you, again, once registration opens, if you have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Rhonda. Our contact information is listed within this PowerPoint that will be housed in your CUC portal that Sean's going to go over, and you'll be able to locate it there. Again, our information, if you have any questions, is listed right here. Rhonda, she'll be able to assist you, or myself. One of the next things that I will kind of want to talk to you about is DegreeWorks. DegreeWorks is your online portal that's going to basically show, it's like an online transcript. It's going to list out all of your classes, the grades that you've received for those courses, when you took those courses, your name, your student ID, your email, your GPA. It's going to list all of that information, and you will access this within your DegreeWorks. And I kind of just want to give you like a close-up kind of view of what that actually looks like. Your program, once you complete the program, every box here will have a check mark, and then you'll have to file your intent to graduate. Once you file your intent to graduate, you'll get a check mark here, and that will indicate that you have completed everything that's necessary for your program, and then they will audit it, and then you will get your diploma, and then all of that stuff. So I just kind of wanted to give you kind of a glimpse of what your degree works will look like whenever you start the program, and then you can kind of just follow this as you're taking your classes. But I do want to say you do not want to follow your degree works plan to completion of your program. You always want to follow your cohort template. Again, do not follow degree works because it's not laid out in the correct way of how you will take your classes. So you always want to use your cohort template. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, or just need assistance, feel free to contact myself or Rhonda, and we'll be more than happy to help you. And I'm going to pass this back to Sean, and he'll be able to help you learn more about the program.
All right, thanks, Tiffany. That was great. All right, bear with me here while I start to share my screen. Okay, and we are back to getting started. So lots of things to cover today. I kind of have it broken into distinct chunks. The first thing I want to go over is just kind of where to get a lot of information that will help you get started at Concordia. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to Blackboard. What I'm going to do, this is an example of Blackboard. I'm going to go ahead and log out of my account and show you just an easy way to get there. You can also get there through your Connect portal as well. So if I just type in blackboard.cuchicago.com, it will take me to a login screen. I'll go ahead and click login since my information is shared, and it will load to Blackboard. So the first thing I want to bring your attention to is this area over here in the middle. I'll be getting to the course list later, so you can wait with bated breath there. But with my organizations, you're going to be having access to this CUC exercise science group. And if you are not a member of this organization or don't see it, please reach out to that advising email that you just saw within Tiffany's presentation, and they'll be happy to get you all sorted and get you into this organization. But I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And within here, the first thing you're going to see is just a very brief welcome, and then you're also going to see it recorded video presentation of this orientation. You can see a lot listed right here right now from the past, but we're going to have the fresh one for you. It will be the first video that you see, and likely the only video that you see, since you're going to be logging in as a student and I'm logged into as an instructor. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through Blackboard. Your Blackboard will look very, very similar to mine. I'll just have access to a couple different formats and a couple different tools that are only available to instructors. So if you have any questions or need to review anything, that video will be right here for you to review. The next thing that I want to kind of go over is just where to find some great tutorials on how to get started within Blackboard and within your classes in general. So that's going to be over here on the left toolbar. I'm going to go to General Information. All right, I've clicked on that. The first thing I want to go to is Tutorials. And we've created this Getting Started folder. This Getting Started folder is a great resource to help you get started. Little surprise there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And within here, we have it broken down into a couple manageable chunks. So the first thing that I want to discuss is the student expectations. Now, this Getting Started folder is going to be in every course that you take within Blackboard at Concordia for the exercise science related courses that you'll be enrolled in. So you'll be able to review this within your course as well. And one of the first things you want to do when you get into your new course, or even before you get there, is go ahead and look at the student expectations within the first 3 days of class document. Basically, this just kind of goes over the tasks that you'll need to be able to accomplish to be successful within the course. And of course, if you feel uncomfortable with any of them, all you need to do is just reach out to your instructor. They're here to help. They're very passionate about making this process as enjoyable and as painless as possible. They want you to be focused on the content and not have to worry about technology or Blackboard, just focus on learning and completing your assignments. So they're here to help and help smooth that process out as much as they can. So I highly suggest that you open that up and look it over when you get into your class. The next thing I would kind of look at is this getting started within Blackboard folder. And since this information is in the organization, you can view this even prior to getting into your class. So if you want to get a head start, say, your course is starting on Monday, you can go ahead and look at these as soon as you get access to that organization. They'll be here waiting for you. So within this folder, we have several videos on how to actually do things within Blackboard. This will be especially useful to those of you that maybe this is your first Blackboard class, or those of you that need a little bit of a refresher since it's been a while. So just briefly going through here, I'm not going to show the videos, I'll just briefly explain what they're about. So the Blackboard email guide shows you how to email within Blackboard is effectively what it shows you to do. This is a great video to watch, if you want to use the built-in email features within Blackboard, or if you just want to email a specific classmate. It's very easy to do that within Blackboard, and the video shows you how to do that. The next one is the Blackboard discussion guide. Now this shows you everything about how to create a discussion post, how to reply to a discussion post, all the tools that you'll need to be able to be successful within the discussion board. It's a fairly intuitive process, but this will clear up any questions that you may have. The next one is how to view grades in Blackboard. You're obviously going to want to stay on top of some assignments that you submitted or discussions that you've completed, because you can view all your grades within Blackboard. And also you'll be able to access your instructor's feedback, which is extremely valuable to review through your My Grades section within Blackboard. And the last one is a Blackboard submission guide. This will effectively show you how to submit an assignment, how to submit a quiz, just how to cross that final hurdle when it's time to submit that assignment that you've completed for the course. So that's the getting started within Blackboard folder. I'm going to go back to the folder. Within the CUC support folder, there are several other very useful videos to review. The first one is about CUC support services. I'll be going over that directly within this video, the recording that I'm recording right now, of course. But within here, you'll find information on the Writing Center, Accessibility, Counseling Center, Career Services, things like that, all within there. Same thing here, communication protocol. I'll be going over this again today, but this is just a nice review as well. Same thing with the textbook guide. I'll be showing you how to get there, but it's good to have this information because you may watch this orientation. You're probably obviously watching it now, but you may forget by the time we get to the next 8 weeks and like, okay, how do I order a textbook? Oh yeah, there's that video. I don't want to watch the whole orientation. We have that video right there. And of course, this will be in your course as well. And then we have several important policies. I highly suggest reviewing the netiquette policy. The other ones are just privacy and accessibility policies for the technology that we use within our courses. We just have them there to review in case you're interested. And the last one is the library guide. Now, this guide shows you how to find an article, how to use the library, all sorts of things like that. I will be going over briefly today how to find an article within not within Blackboard, but within the CUC library, because often, we want you all to hit the ground running within your courses, and being able to find good articles is a key part of that. And then we have the peer-reviewed guide, just kind of goes over peer-reviewed sources and what's an appropriate peer-reviewed source. Purdue OWL, always a good resource to check out for APA information. And the last thing we have down here is just a YouTube user's guide. A lot of our courses, or not a lot, but a fair portion of our courses require to create videos, things like that. And YouTube's a great resource for that, other than in kinesiology when you'll be using Dartfish. So kind of covered the getting started folder there, very important. Just again on how to get there quickly, you're going to just open up your Blackboard homepage, go to CUC Exercise Science. You'll go to the general information and then tutorials, and then everything will be there. And then also we'll have the PowerPoints and everything like that that Tiffany went over located within here. We have the new student presentation here. And then if we go up to general information, within templates. We have access to all the templates for what are effectively current students. So some of our oldest students started in fall 2018 for the graduate program. So that's the oldest current active group of students. So this will be continually updated as you go, but what you're effectively going to want to look for is, say, maybe you're going to start in summer 2019, which is our next term. You'll be able to open up that here. But for all of you that are watching this in the future, say fall 2019, summer 2022, your cohort template will be up here and replaced as we progress through time. So I highly suggest that you download that, save it to your computer, always have it as a reference, because it's really invaluable in helping you get through the program, as Tiffany demonstrated earlier. And then down here, we also have that registration PowerPoint, and that walks you through step by step on how to get through registration. Okay, the next thing that I kind of want to go over is just a general program overview. And to do that, I am going to just use a random template. I'm just going to click on Summer Term 1 Standard, just to discuss a little bit about the courses that you'll be taking kind of in order here at Concordia. Okay, so in general, there is a general flow to the courses. I'm going to go ahead and zoom into this a little bit. It looks a little bit small. And everybody, no matter what your concentration is, are going to take a couple courses together just as one big mass, and then you're going to have your concentration courses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over what is the core curriculum, and these are the courses that everybody takes, and then I'll give you a little kind of teaser of things that you'll look forward to within your concentration courses. So really the first two courses are Kinesiology 1 and Kinesiology 2. These courses kind of have dual functions. The first is to get you conversant in functional anatomy, looking at describing movement, analyzing movement, really picking up some of the jargon that is involved with applied exercise science effectively. I mean, we all need to be able to use the same terms so that we can understand what each other are talking about. We don't want to say, okay, we're bending the knees. We want to move to a more scientific terminology. The next thing this course does is it is set up to help orientate you to online learning. It has you complete a bunch of different activities so that by the time you go to the next course, you really know how to do your stuff. And then after you've completed the first two kinesiology courses, generally then you go on to our research designs and methods course, which is built to help you understand research, understand why it's important, and really ultimately understand how to use it, how to synthesize it in your writing, and how to develop as an academic scientific writer so that you can apply all those skills into your subsequent classes as you progress through the program. Also within that course, we also go over things like APA citation, a little bit on statistics, all sorts of fun things like that. The next course that you go into, and this is kind of where it really kind of takes off to a higher level of science, that's going to be 6200. That's going to be applied exercise science. That course is exactly what it sounds like. You're looking at exercise physiology. You're looking at how the systems of the bodies work together to support exercise and how we adapt to exercise within that course. Now, the next core course that everybody takes is actually listed down here, and that's going to be the exercise and sports nutrition course. Again, just another course that's the spoilers all in the title. You're going over exercise and sports nutrition, how to fuel the body for sport and exercise, and the different concerns that you may have there working with athletes versus the general population. All right, now we get to kind of the secret sauce of the program a little bit. We're going to go into the concentrations. And luckily, all our concentrations are kind of labeled fairly similar. You may see some some differences here and there, but in general, they all are going to follow the same format. And with the exception of the sports nutrition course, which has an extra class, there are going to be just 4 core concentration courses. Now, within the first course, you're really just going to be establishing, learning a firm foundation of all the scientific knowledge that you'll need to be able to accomplish the later tasks. So you can kind of think of it as a theoretical and practical foundation for the concentration. And then the next class, which is usually your XX20 course, is going to be where you start to practice to apply the information that you learned in the first course. And then in the third course, which is usually XX40, that's where you're really getting into the nitty gritty, into the small details of actually applying the information that you've learned in the first 2 courses. Generally within your practicum course, you're going to be working with a member of the community and implementing a type of program, and you're really going to be focusing on mastering the actual process involved with your concentration. And then the last concentration is usually a seminar special topics course where you cover current topics and look at really promoting evidence-based practice within your chosen concentration. And then the last class that everybody again comes back together within their one final course, and that's our capstone in applied exercise science. This course is effectively wraps up the program. Within this course, you'll be basically tackling a self-directed project. This is kind of your mastery project for the course, and you're going to be working with a faculty member to effectively accomplish this project. It's not anything to stress out for. It's more something to be excited about because you're going to be taking all this newfound knowledge that you gained within our program and applying it to a concrete project. This is something that you can use to display your new skills, even, to show to future employers that demonstrate your mastery. All right, and there are several examples of things that past students have done. You know, done a public health outreach initiative, set for an advanced certification within the industry, developed curriculum for a course, um, you know, wrote, an entire comprehensive workout plan for a quad-annual athlete, all sorts of things like that, reaching out and developing programs for, disabled sport awareness, all sorts of things that can be accomplished within that. Really, the only limit is what you're interested in. Obviously, it's going to deal with exercise science, but it's really going to be curtailed specific to you, something that you're interested in, something that you want to tackle. Okay, I think that's about enough on the courses. Let's go ahead and go over some of the CUC support that you have access to as an online student. And I really want to reinforce that even though you are an online student, you still have access to all these uh, support services that are associated traditionally with just brick and mortar students. So let's go ahead and go over a couple of those. So where I am here is this is just the CUC homepage. All it is cuchicago.edu. And I'm going to show you how to get to the support services and talk briefly about them. The first thing I want to talk about is the Writing Center. So to get there, we're going to go to Academics. We'll come down here to Academic Support. I just click on that and it will list some of the support features that we have here. The first one I want to go over is the Writing Center. So the Writing Center is a great tool for those of you that want an extra set of eyes on your writing, need a little extra help, all sorts of things like that. The only real caveat with the Writing Center is you do need to plan ahead. For example, if your assignment's due Sunday, and most of our assignments are due Sunday at midnight, or technically 11:59 p.m. Central Time, you're going to want to plan ahead in advance. So you'll have access to that assignment on Monday. Go ahead and get a good draft out there, get it to the Writing Center, get some feedback, and then be able to get that final draft turned around and submit it on time. So it really just requires some pre-planning, because if you say, okay, it's Saturday, oh, I want an extra set of eyes on this, it's just they're not going to be able to turn it around that quick. And that's just kind of outside the realm of expectations. Another thing that I do want to bring your attention to is just this online appointments for graduate and distance learners. So just by clicking on this, it will show you how to create an appointment. They have an online scheduler. All you need to do is click on that and it will give you more information on how to actually schedule an appointment at the Writing Center. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is accessibility, just for those of you that are worried about it, feeling a bit trepidatious. We are heavily invested into accommodations for our learners that need them here at Concordia, and I think you'll find that. Effectively, what you'll need to do if you do need to reach out for extra accommodations is just reach out to Mary. She's super responsive, super excited to help you continue your education. So for those of you that this is appropriate for, just go ahead and reach out to Mary. Mary will help handle everything for you. So instead of you reaching out to your instructor trying to explain things, what will happen is you'll effectively work with Mary, and then Mary will contact your instructor and help facilitate everything for you. So just make sure that you get this started. You can start this process now, before you even get to your first course, and I highly suggest that you do that, just so by the time you get into that first course, everything is set up for all your subsequent courses as well. All right. Next thing is probably very important for most of us, and that's tech support. So to get to tech support, I'm going to come over here to Concordia Experience and come down here to CougarNet Technology Resources and click on that. So clicking on that will load up CougarNet, and one of my big recommendations for here is just to jot down this information, this phone number, so that you have somebody to call in case you can't access Blackboard, can't access your student email. You still have a way to call the tech support people and get them to help. Otherwise, you can go through Concordia Connect, your Connect portal, which is just up here on the home page or any page at Concordia Chicago, and get more information, set up an appointment, open a ticket, all sorts of things. So if you're having any issues with, maybe completing a task on Blackboard in terms of it's getting you an error, or you can't get an assignment to submit, or you can't access your email, this is who you want to reach out to. Your professors, it's just they won't be able to get into the back end area that CougarNet can get into to actually be able to notice what's wrong and to fix it. So make sure you reach out to CougarNet for what's going on there. All right, the next thing I wanted to kind of go over are just some additional services that you have access to at Concordia. And the first one I wanted to talk about just real quickly is the Counseling Center. So here at Concordia, we all know that higher education in itself is stressful, but when you couple that with what the random things that happen in life, it can kind of get overwhelming. So I do want to mention that you do have access to the Counseling Center as an online student. If for some reason you feel the need to reach out to somebody, just do it, just across the board. If you feel the need, reach out. You can schedule an appointment online. I highly suggest that you do that because they can help put you in contact with somebody that you need. They can give you, a little support at that time, and they can just help you get through that process. Because a lot of times, all we need is somebody to talk to, but there are more serious issues. And for those of you that, feel the need to talk to somebody or, are kind of spiraling, I highly suggest that you reach out to the Counseling Center. The next thing that I wanted to go over were just some career services that you have access to here at Concordia, a little bit more of a positive note. Um, I highly suggest that you guys start thinking about these, after your first couple classes, looking at the career services here. One of the great things here that we have at Concordia is that we do help you with your resume through a partnership with Resume Target, so that by the time you can get out of here, you'll have a firm, great looking resume to help you land a good job. They also do a lot of effectively career services, career counseling, helping you, look at job searches, all sorts of different things like that. They're there to help, and I highly suggest you take advantage of that service because you have that as an online student as well. Okay, that's a lot about services. The next thing that I want to kind of go over is just a little bit on how to use the library. So if we just go back to the home page, just to make it an easy starting point, I'm going to show you how to get to the library. All right, so let's go to the library. To get to the library, you'll want to come the fastest way. Just come up here to quick links, come down and click on library. So this will load the effectively the online library for Concordia Chicago. And first thing I want to bring your attention to is just this tutorials section. All right, the librarians themselves have put together a lot of useful tutorials on like how to conduct searches, how to use different aspects of the library. One of the first ones I would recommend you are just the library tutorials and then the EBSCOhost tutorials. A lot of our searches go through EBSCOhost, so they're very beneficial to look at those. For those of you that may be looking for dissertations or things like that, you'll end up going through ProQuest, so it's probably beneficial to watch those tutorials as well. The next thing I want to go over is effectively how to find an article. But before I do that, I do want to show just one brief thing here, and this is the interlibrary loan request. A lot of the times our classes, the pace is just goes pretty quick. So you're going to be using full text article access most of the time. But for those of you that are working a little bit in advance and you find a great article, but we don't have full text access to it, there's actually a really easy way to get access to that article, and that is just submitting an interlibrary loan request. All I'm going to do here is click on this quickly. It will open up a new window. And all you'll have to do is just effectively enter some of your student information, enter information about the article, and you'll be able to request the material. And generally, I have found that upon request, depending, if you're making it during a weekday or not, generally they'll get you a PDF within 48 hours of the article that you've requested. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but again, just one of those things to plan in advance, and I just want you to be aware of it so that you can use this service that you have access to. So if we go back to the library, we're just close that out there. I'm going to go back to the library homepage, and right now I'm just going to go give you a quick little run through on how to find an article for your classes. So again, I said earlier that we're going to be looking at the EBSCO gateway, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And the reason that we go through this one is it has access to a great database for exercise science. So you can search all of these at once. It does slow your search down a little bit, but for those of you with a good internet connection, it's really nothing to be concerned with. However, most of the information that we find is going to be coming from the sports discus anyway, so I'm just going to search this one right now. So all I did was click on sports discus and it will load up the database. And then, there's a lot about how to craft a good search. I refer you to library videos for that. I'm just going to show you how to complete one, how to find an article real quickly. So I'm just going to type in, something that I want to look at. So I'm going to type in obesity in children. It's one of my personal areas of interest. So I did is click search, so it loads up a lot of articles. So what we see here is we have 7,000 articles. You're going to want to narrow it down a little bit. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that you only have scholarly peer-reviewed journals access. Within your courses, your instructors will not be appreciative if you're citing periodicals or .coms or anything like that. We're all about the peer-reviewed research here, so you're going to want to limit your searches to that. So that just knocked off, about 1,300 articles. The next thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you're looking at recent current evidence within the field. So to do that, you're going to want to adjust the publication date. So I highly suggest adjusting your publication date to, at the minimum, within the last 10 years, if not within 5 years. So you see here, we still have, access to over 4,000 articles. If I do make it into the last 5 years, let it update, maybe. We'll still have access to a fair amount of articles, and I'm not really sure. Oh, there it goes. It was just thinking about it. It only wanted to go to 2012. Well, if we go all the way up to 2014, last 5 years or so, we still have access to over 2,000 articles. Still plenty of information to go to, and we all know that it's very current and relevant. Now, depending on when you're doing this search, if you're doing this search on a Monday, I would recommend just leaving it exactly how it is in advance for like a Sunday assignment. If you're doing this on a Saturday for a Sunday assignment, I highly suggest that you limit to full text. By doing that, it will limit all the results to just those that you have immediate full text access to. So you'll see all of these have like full text listed underneath them. So really all you need to do is to click on this full text and it will open up the article for you. All right. There's another couple things that I want to show you within here just so that you're aware of. And again, I cover a lot of this in the getting started folder as well. You can of course email these articles to you. Say you're searching a lot. You can also obviously just come down here and download them, save them directly to your computer. And then another thing that a lot of students figure out how to do, but actually ends up hurting them a little bit, is clicking this cite button. You will have access to a lot of citations for the article. Now, if we go ahead and look at this APA one, this one's pretty good. You know, it generally puts it in the right format, but due to how the article information gets inputted into the database, a lot of times there are mistakes within here. Generally, it pumps it up in the right order, the right stuff's italicized, things like that, but there are generally always issues with capitalization. It's kind of rare. I'd say it only happens about 25% of the time at most that you get a perfect citation. So within this one, we even see a couple of errors. You know, obviously we don't want the author's last names all capitalized. We want those written in a normal fashion. Within APA, only the first word of the title is generally capitalized. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you were to submit this, it's close, but it would still get you dinged with points because it's not, 100% correct APA citation. So it's a good tool to help get you started, but you will need to correct them on a time-to-time basis. So that's really how to find an article. Let's go ahead and actually dive into Blackboard a little bit. I want to kind of give you an overview of one of the first courses that you'll take, and that will just be a kinesiology course. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of go ahead and open up a template for 6020, which is our kinesiology one. Generally, that will be the first course you take if you're starting on an even start for the semester. For those of you that start in term 2, you'll enter into kinesiology 6030 or AES 6030, which is kinesiology 2. These courses are effectively the same. The only difference is that one looks at upper body anatomy, the other looks at lower body anatomy. The rest of it, kind of the format, the activities are all the same. So again, just quickly, when you log into Blackboard, your active courses are going to be listed over here. So right now, I'm in the spring 2000, or actually, no, I'm not. Let me close that. I'm actually in summer 2019. We're in term 1 of summer 2019. These are my active courses. Obviously, I've been at Concordia for a little while as an instructor, so I have a lot of courses listed. And down here are the current courses that I'm teaching. So that's how you'll access your courses, just by clicking on them. But if I go back here to 6020, I just kind of want to show you a couple of things, how to navigate, interact within your course itself. So, you're going to get into the course, watch the welcome video. It will show you even, again, reinforce how to navigate within the course. You're going to want to download that syllabus, vital information in there. It's effectively your guide to the course, has all the assignments, readings, all sorts of information listed, a lot of information about current policies and things like that. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the Getting Started folder is located in all our courses. And then we also have instructor information. I highly suggest that you write down your instructor information just on a sheet by your computer in case you lose access to your computer, or like your internet crashes or something like that and you need to reach out to your instructor. Go ahead and write their information down. Again, this is just a template, but in a live course, it will look roughly the same, but things will be filled in, like your instructor information will be filled in and everything like that. So, kind of once you get down to that point, you'll probably be interested. Let's go ahead and click on learning modules as a way to navigate within the course. So when I click on learning modules, it will take me to the learning modules within the course. And so this course just has 5 learning modules. Odds are when you log into your course, you're only going to have access to module 1. That's because at Concordia we work on a module by module basis, meaning that you're really only working on one module at a time. When that one wraps up, you move on to the next one. So your instructors will have it set up so that as you're finishing up one module, then the next one will open. And these are all time gated, effectively either on a week or 2 week, or in some rare cases even longer module. For example, I think in this course the first module is 1 week, the second module is 2 weeks, and it kind of continues a little bit like that. So this is how to get to some of the learning material. If I go ahead and click on module 1, we'll see an overview. You'll see a lot of instructions. You can get to the readings and resources by clicking here, and you'll see the readings for the course. Going back to the learning module, I can come down here and click on activities, and it will list all of the activities for the course as well. So that's an easy way to navigate. And then by clicking on these, say I want to take the introduction quiz, it will take me directly to the introduction quiz. Another way to navigate is to use this toolbar. Say I just want to go to the discussions. I go ahead and just click on discussions, and I'll be able to interact here and look at the discussions as needed. Of course, it also works for assessments and assignments and everything like that. So that's really a little bit on how to navigate within a Blackboard. Kind of the next thing I want to go over is just a little bit on how to, set yourself up for success within these courses. So as I mentioned earlier, the courses themselves run on a module basis, and generally these modules are going to be 1 to 2 weeks. So you're going to want to organize your week so that you can be successful. And what that means is, we're just going to use an example of a 1 week module here, is that if my discussion post is going to be due on day 4, which will be Thursday, that's another point. A lot of our courses list things due dates as days of the week. So if we're on a 1 week module, day 3 will be Wednesday, day 6 will be Saturday, and so on. So if I see that my discussion post is due day 4, I see that my assignment is due day 7. That means you want to use the beginning of the week, those first 3 days, to really, look into the material, do all the readings, look over the assignments, see if you have any questions about them, dig into the course content. And this is just so that you can effectively get any questions clarified in time for them to be useful for the assignments. Maybe you're struggling with a concept that's asked about on an assignment, you need some clarification, reach out to your instructor. But it's going to be hard if you wait to do the assignment, even look at the assignment till Sunday to knock it out. You're going to have a harder time, getting the information that you may need sometimes. The courses are set up to have as much support as they possibly can to make it as easy for you to complete the activities as you can, but there still are the occasional questions. So that's why it's so valuable to look at things in advance and plan ahead. Because your instructors they will be responsive. But for example, on a Sunday, you can't expect them to be constantly monitoring their email. We always can guarantee almost that your instructor will respond within 24 hours. But sometimes you may need, if you leave everything to the last minute, a quick response. And that's just, it's kind of unreasonable to expect that, because your instructors have lives as well too. A lot of them are super there. Like, I check my email multiple times during the weekends just to support the students. But sometimes you get caught out. I'm out hiking and I don't have access to the internet because I'm way back in the mountains, and it's impossible for me to check my email. So just be aware of things like that. Your instructors are human; they aren't chained to their computers. So just plan ahead, and I think you'll be successful. The next thing that, again, I mentioned earlier is just use this syllabus as a guide. It lists all the activities for the courses, so if you're going to have a busy week on week 4, you can go ahead and look ahead a little bit and kind of get a general idea and start to develop a plan on how to deal with any issues that may arise. Another thing to keep in mind is that, again, I said all our assignments, activities, discussions are due at 11:59. That is Central Time because that's where Concordia is located. So for those of you that are on the West Coast, just keep in mind that your assignments are due 11:59 p.m. Central Time. All right, so that means you got to knock them out 2 hours before midnight. Just something to keep in mind, especially for our international students. Kind of make sure you pay attention to those. And maybe I would suggest communicating with your instructor, especially for those of you that are in Europe, Eastern Europe, Asia, things like that. Make sure that you communicate with your student about your location as well, or your instructor about your location as well. So kind of know how to get around and around within Blackboard, everything like that. The next thing I want to do is show you how to figure out what book you need prior to course start. So to do that, we need to go back to the Concordia homepage. So let me find my mouse, and there we go. So I'm just going to go back to the Concordia homepage, and then to figure out where our books are, or what books we need, we're going to go up here to quick links and just click on bookstore. So this will take us to the Concordia bookstore. And what I'm going to come over here, click over textbooks and click find textbooks. So as an example, since we're in the summer of 2019, I'm going to search for just the summer term. Say, I'm starting up real super soon. We're going to look for our department, which will be AES. Kinesiology students, your KIN. Human performance students, your HHP. And then for the course, so if I'm going to be starting during the first one, it may be 60-20, maybe 60-30. We'll use 60-30 as an example. Now you can select any section. All right, any section is good for this because all sections will use the same material. So that will find my information for one course. You can obviously, if you're taking more than one, enter it so that you only have to click once. So finding materials for one course, it will show me that, okay, I need to get Trail Guide to the body because this is the textbook for this course. It is required. So that's how to find your textbook prior to starting the course. I highly suggest that you do that as soon as you've seen this video for your first course, and remember it in advance of your next courses because you don't want to be caught in the first week without your textbook. Okay, the next thing I kind of want to talk about, and we are kind of getting to the end here, are just some communication strategies and protocol within Blackboard, within student interactions, within instructor interactions. And the first thing I want to kind of go over here is the course cafe. So we have this nice flow chart, and I'm going to get to this in a minute. But what I do want to show you is where the course cafe is, because that will have an impact on where you ask questions. So the course cafe is going to be located within the discussions. So just by clicking on discussions, it will load everything up. And see here we have the course cafe. The course cafe is great for multiple different avenues of interaction. All right, it's a great place to ask questions about course content to your instructor. It's a great place to, just make a random post about something you're excited about. It's a great place to, start to interact with your peers. So it is kind of a hybrid of a place to ask questions, general questions to your instructor, and also kind of a social hangout place. Maybe you found just this article and it just blew your mind. Go ahead, post it to the Course Cafe because I know somebody else will be interested in it as well. All right, so now that we know where the Course Cafe is, let's go ahead and hop back here to the communication protocol. Okay. So let's say you have a question. First thing you need to do is make sure that that question hasn't already been answered. All right. And that's just to help prevent you from looking kind of foolish to either yourself or to your peers. And to really kind of dig in to make sure your question's answered, hasn't been answered already, make sure you look over the syllabus, you check that CUC email inbox, and I can't stress enough how important it is to stay on top of that email inbox. I reach out to my students, several times a week through email, so it's important to stay on top of that. I recommend checking it daily. And then also look over the course cafe because it's possible that a student already had asked that question and has been answered. All right, so once you get through that process, the next step is to determine what really kind of type of question you have, because depending on the type, it's going to go really to one of two places. So I've kind of covered the course cafe a little bit, and that's going to be questions about course content. For example, I need clarification on this concept. Could you clarify this assignment? When is this assignment due? All sorts of things like that. That's going to go to the course cafe. And the reason why it's important to send it to the course cafe is because then everybody can see it. So instead of the instructor, typing up a great response to a question just to you, or having to answer the same question like 4 times. If it gets posted to the Course Cafe, everything is there. Everybody can see it, and it just works out better for everyone. And then just really within any interaction that you're especially going to have with your instructor, just make sure you really take the time to look at your check for grammar, check for proper sentence structure. Don't be using fringe emojis or uncapitalization or all caps or things like that. Just type it up in a nice, clean, professional manner, no stress, and just proper etiquette, and everything will be good. And then the next thing is, if you have more of a personal question, maybe you want to know why you got these specific points taken off on assignment. Maybe something popped up in your life that is fairly serious and you need to ask for an extension. These are the types of questions you should email to your instructor. All right. So the first thing you're going to do is you'll email them. Within your email, if you really want your professor to, just be head over heels, include your section number, include, a proper, email outline. Greet them, explain your issue, explain who you are, explain what section you are in, and explain your issue. And that would be a good way. Close it respectfully, everything like that. Most of our instructors are like me, fairly laid back, but it's important just to get off on the right step when you push yourself to text-based communication. You have to be a little more aware, a little cleaner with your language, and how you present it than you really would be with face-to-face interaction. And that's just because it's really hard to convey tone and feelings through text without overly flowery language. So with just those interactions, is easier if you just put it in the correct format. Then you don't have to really worry about tone as much. Okay, enough about that. Say you have emailed your professor, you've posted the Course Cafe, and they haven't gotten back to you within 24 hours. Go ahead and contact them again through those same routes, and then you can escalate it to the next step, which would be, like calling. Some people are fine with text. Like, for example, I'm fine with texting, but don't count on any instructor being. You can set up a Zoom meeting, all sorts of different things like that. Just remember, give them 24 hours to respond before you send a reminder, because life gets hectic for everybody involved. So just go ahead and review this sheet as you need it. It makes it seem like we're all uptight, but I promise that we're not. The main reason for this is just to help you be successful and be as successful and make everything as easy as possible. Nothing to stress about, nothing to really worry about. Okay. So again, as I mentioned, those expectations for your instructor responses are within 24 hours. Now, if you're having an issue with your instructor, the first person that you want to try to resolve that issue with is your instructor themselves. All right, always reach out to them. Maybe you think they're grading you unfairly, something like that. The first person you want to reach out to is your instructor. You kind of exhaust that route before you reach out to anybody else, because the next step after trying to reach out with your instructor, say you can't come to accord, is to reach out to your advisor. That advising email that we flashed way back at the beginning is a great place to start. Otherwise, you can eventually contact the program coordinator, but you really want to try to hash out things with the instructor. And if you can't do that, contact your advisor, and they can kind of help take over managing the process. But the first thing they'll ask is for all the correspondence you've had with your instructor. So that's why it's also important to really go out to your instructor first, is that you'll have access to that. They'll be able to see the interactions, and they'll be able to help resolve the issue. Okay, getting to essentially kind of the last area, and this is just something for everyone to be aware of as they go into the program. And that is, at Concordia, we take issues of plagiarism and academic honesty very seriously. All right. It's rarely an issue within a course, but we want to make sure you have access to the tools you need to help prevent any issues of plagiarism or originality issues within your work. And to help you do that, we have within our courses, within the assignments tabs, this safe assign pre-submission check assignment. So what this is this is a tool for you to use to check all your work prior to submission. There are unlimited submissions within this assignment. Your instructor will never ever look at anything you've been submitted in here because quite frankly, it's not really worth their time. You can push discussions through here. You can push assignments through here, push anything through there. And what will happen is you'll get an originality score back and you'll be able to look at your work, see if there are any issues either with attribution or maybe you didn't change the wording enough of your rewrite, things like that, all help to get identified. I highly suggest you use this because if you do actually end up plagiarizing on assignment, there is a cascading uh, severity of each incident, but the first time you do it, and hopefully the last time, well, hopefully there's no times, but if you do it, make a mistake, you're going to get an automatic 0 on that assignment. So just something to be aware of. We do take it seriously. Use this, abuse this pre-submission check as needed. All right, the next thing is that for all assignments, you're going to want to attach the CUC cover page, and this will be found within the assignments tab for your courses. It's the same for every course within your program, so download it once, you got it. Attach it to all your assignments, and assignments are things that are listed within the assignments tab. You don't have to attach it to discussions or quizzes, just things specifically labeled assignments. Okay? Other than that, just one last shout out to that syllabus. Super important. It's got information again, like on the late policy for the course, the grading scale, all sorts of things like that, all found within the syllabus. Highly, highly suggest that you review it. All right. Congratulations. 1, on entering your journey here at Concordia. 2, actually making it to the very end of this orientation. A couple things that I want to go over. 1, thanks. Thanks for your time. Thanks for enrolling here. Just as you're excited to get started, we are also super stoked for you to get excited because our passion is helping you get to where you want to be and who you want to be, both as a student and as a professional. So we're super excited to go along with you on this journey, kind of as a support staff. When you're out there learning all the information, we're just kind of here in the background, making sure the process works well for you. And on that note, don't ever, 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 ever hesitate to reach out to somebody if you need help. This includes, your advisor. This includes, help with registration, but mostly it also includes your instructor. If you need clarification on anything, do not ever hesitate to reach out to your instructor. Speaking as an instructor, there are no such thing as dumb questions. That is a misnomer because if the question's already been answered, it does look a little kind of dumb if you're asking it again. But don't hesitate. I don't even care if it's already been answered. I want to make sure that you have access to the answers you need. I want to make the process as smooth and as painless as possible for you. I want you to be focused on learning, on content mastery. And if you have any questions about content, reach out. If you have any questions about assignments, my expectations, reach out. And it's going to be the same thing for any of your instructors. We're here to help, but you got to ask. We're not mind readers and we don't even see you in person. So it's even more important to reach out. Don't hesitate. All right. Do not hesitate. Other than that, that wraps up everything for orientation. I wish you all the best on your journey. I'm super stoked for you all to begin and have a great day. Have a great first course. And that's the end. It's a wrap.